Okay, so this is the route and this is the controller and this method will be called. So if you see, this is the app, this is the controllers directory, and in this we have this simple coding articles controller. Okay, in Ruby, what happens is the names are very important. So you can see that this the name of the file is simple coding underscore articles underscore controller. But here we are specifying only simple coding underscore articles. So it is sort of built into Rails, or you can say Ruby, that underscore controller will be appended here by default. So we only have to specify this. And if we go to this, if you open this file, you can see this method all articles. So what we are doing is we are simply creating one variable, and this article is one model similar to what you have in Spring Boot. In Spring Boot, you have this entity, right? In Ruby, you have this model, and in this model, we are fetching all the articles. This is one method which is defined by Rails. If you see, I'll open this model, article model. Yeah, another thing to note is that in model, the name is small, but when we are using it as an object, then we have to make it capital. The first letter is capital. So as you can see, these are the various properties that each article has, but there is no method called all. Uh, see, there won't be any method. These are all the variables it has, and this is all series. This is not all. So there is no method all. Okay. So this is something which is defined by default. What it will do is it will return all the articles that are present in the database, and this means it will represent, it will store the information in JSON format, and this means that there are many things in the article object, but we only want these attributes, right? And then we send a message that status is okay and the call has been accepted, the request has been accepted, and then we simply render it. We render JSON, and as JSON we are passing this object. It contains all the articles. So similar to this, we have created many APIs. One is the all articles, one is the all tags. So what this will do is it will return all the tags that we have. If we see
The tags related to a article or the all tags.
all tags, these are all the
Okay,
tags
okay.
that are there. Matlab,
Yeah, yeah.
if there are 10 articles and each article has three
Hmm.
tags, so this will return 30 tags.
30 tags. Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
this is tags. We have created one more API. It is called get by tag. So what this will do is it will return the article which contains this tag. So if we type here, let's say Java, it is tag slash Java. It will give us a list of all the articles that will contain this tag. So see, this is one article 45 and it has Java in its tag list. Similarly, this is article 43. It also has this tag. Okay, it has Java written here, so that is why it is default. And it is 39. This also has this Java here. If you see the code, this is what we are doing. We are, you guys must have used SQL. So this is one, this like is one operator in SQL. It says that uh, if the value matches this regular expression, then it should return. Then it should return that row. So any row that will contain Java in any of the tags, it will be returned. Maybe this example is not that good. We'll try with JavaScript. See, if you do JavaScript, We'll get all the articles that have JavaScript. If we had a tag, something like JavaScript front end, then also it will return because JavaScript is in that tag. Okay. So, is it clear? Do you have any doubts till here? Hello?
Yeah,
No,
it's
I don't
clear.
have any.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's clear,
Then we
Shiva.
have then we have an API get article by ID. So it is basically it will return that particular article. Like I showed you in the beginning, it will do.
We can append the slash ID to the articles and it will show the particular article only, right?
Yeah, yeah, like we did earlier. Uh, you can see it in the routes. In routes, we have this article slash ID. Then we have one article
Yes.
slash slug slash slug. Do you know what
Slug
are
ID.
slugs?
That's this.
Uh,
No, I don't know.
Mm,
okay,
same for I don't know.
okay, I'll tell you. Let this page be loaded. Then so basically, what happens is one thing is that you are getting this article, the 61 article, using its ID, right? But in the
Yes.
URL, it does not look good. So what people do is they uh, they create a slug. So slug is basically a unique string which is mapped to this particular article called 61.
Okay.
So let it just load, then I'll tell you.
Like hash map in Java, right? Like
Uh,
it maps
Hello,
the
Satyan.
ID to.
you
Yeah,
can
in the first task,
think it of well, you can think it like a hash map, but the
Okay.
implementation is very different for the two things. I'll show. See, this
Oh, I
61,
get it.
the 61 is here, right? And the other
Yeah.
thing is this is a slug. So if I'll copy this and if I'll write slug slash this slug, then also it will return the same article. So I think I copied uh, it in half of it. This is the entire thing. You see, it returned the same object. So these are two ways of doing it. Well, you can use this ID. This is also unique for each article, or you can use this slug. This is also unique for each article. There was one more
Okay.
reason for using slug. I can't remember that.
Uh, I I may know. Actually, exposing the ID is not a good practice because if we have the delete request mapped with that ID, so that article will be removed even if the developer has been careless about the some at some point of time, then it can be removed. So exposing ID is not a good thing. So that's why I guess we are using slugs for unique string. So that will not be any mapping for delete in this.
Yes, you may be right. I think this was uh, I think this was it.
Or it can be more human readable to search and all the things.
Yes. Okay. So this is what are slugs, and then we have yeah. This is another right. So these are all the new APIs that we created, and as you can see, it was a very simple task. But even we don't know a lot about the Forem code. We only knew about Rails, and with that knowledge only, we were able to create the route. We created one new controller, and we were able to get all the information that we want. So if we were to make a completely new backend, it would have taken a lot of time because we would have to create this interface also for the admin to create articles and all. But now we just use Forem and we created the APIs only. And using Rails, creating APIs can be done in no time, which is very simple. So this is very similar to Spring Boot. You must have realized that by now. So
Yes.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so this is what we did. The main problem that you will face is uh, hosting this on your local host because Forem requires a number of uh, dependencies. Let me open the documentation that will show you what all we require. So if you see, we require Ruby, we require PostgreSQL. Do you know what is PostgreSQL?
Yes, I have it.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is basically what we can say a SQL based DB, a relational database, right?
Yes.
This image magic is also required, but since we won't use it, we don't need to initialize it in our local machine. This Redis we will use this Redis server is used for caching, so that the search results get uh, returned in no time. So you will have to
Yes.
install this in your localhost. You will also have to install Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch is basically a program which enables you to search very efficiently and even inside the strings. So is it in database you can only search for some records, right? But in Elasticsearch you can search for any string that is there in your application.
Okay.
So this
Okay, okay.
Elasticsearch you will have to install in your localhost, and then you will have to do this gem install bundler. Have you guys used Node.js or any framework based on Node.js like Vuejs?
I have used Node.js
Yes,
and
yes.
Express.js both.
So you must
Same here.
have used npm install, right?
Yes.
The command
Yes,
npm
NPM
install.
install. Yeah.
So what npm install does is it installs all the packages that are there in package.json, right? So this
Yes.
so this is
Yes, yes.
so this command is like installing npm. So this will install bundler, which is exactly like npm. And after if you will do bundler install, it will install all the packages that are there in your gem log file. Let me show. See this is your gem. This is the gem file. So in Ruby, each module is called a gem. So in npm, each module is called a package, right? In Ruby, it is called a gem. So these are all the dependencies that Forem is using. And if you will write bundle install on your terminal, it will simply install all these dependencies. And gem install bundler is like we are installing npm. So do you have any doubt about this?
Not currently.
It's clear.
Okay. And secondly, what you will have to do is you will this repository it has a file called .env sample. Let me just open it. So here there is one file .env sample. So this basically contains all the keys and all the settings that you need to run your copy of Forem on your machine. So as you can see, it contains the database name, the database URL. It even has all the keys that we'll be needing. So this is one file which you do not want to upload on GitHub. You do not want to commit this file because it contains a lot of things which you do not want to share, like keys and all. So what they have done is they have created a sample of this file. So if you simply rename this file to .env, it will work. It will start, Rails will be able to recognize this. So what we have done is, so when you clone this repository, one of the first things that you must do is rename this file to .png. And since we are
Okay.
not using all of these services, we'll only have to add these two. So when you guys are about to install Forem on your local host, just ask me or Neil sir about the Cloudinary API keys and all. We'll share and you can add this. Right. The other
Okay.
thing that we did, we added one more option in this env file that was not added by Forem. What we did was, uh, if you try to host this, it will use HTTP, right? There is no SSL certificate here. So we have to generate an SSL certificate so that this lock comes here. You can see this, right? It says connection is secure. So this means that this website has an SSL certificate. You guys know about SSL certificate, right?
Yes, it encrypt our data so no one can trace it.
Yes. So what happens is when you create one website and when you host it, it does not has an SSL certificate. You access that website using HTTP, but that is not secure, and that also creates a trust void between us and the users of the website. You must have seen that GoDaddy ad on YouTube, maybe. That is very famous for that SSL certificate. So what we did, we issued ourselves an SSL certificate. A there is a Ubuntu package called Let's Encrypt, using which you can get
Yes,
an
yes, yes,
certificate
yes.
for free. So we used that, and then we added that certificate in our this application. Let me show you where I added that. It was in config. Mm, see. So these files are there on the server. It is not on my local machine. But if you go to the server and if you go to this directory, you will find this file script.py and thread.py. So when we are deploying this on our server, we need these files and we need to bind it to this 3000 port and and tell Rails that we want to use SSL with this, host it using SSL. So this is one thing which you want in your server, but not in your local host, because simply for development we do not use SSL certificate. We use SSL certificate only for production, right? So
Yes.
the issue is that when we are deploying it on production, we need these lines in our code. But when we are deploying it on our local host for development, we do not need all this. Right? If you see, there is one more file. Uh, so see, these are two files, profile and profile.dev. So this profile.dev is responsible for starting your Rails application, your Rails server on your local, and this profile is responsible for starting it on the production. So what we did, we created this .dev file was there in Forem repository. We simply created one more file called profile, and in this we mentioned the code that we need for running it on production. If you remember, this is the same file that contains our SSL thing, right? This schema.rb.
Right.
So what happens is, when we are in our local machine, we want this file to run, this profile, this profile.dev to start our server. And when we are on production, we want this file to start our server. So what we did, we added one more variable in .env file. As you can see, this is there, right? So now
Yes.
Yes, yes.
what happens is, If this is set to development, then this file will be used. If this is set to production, then this file will be used. I'll show you where I did that. It was in bin. Uh, if you guys are wondering what is bin startup, let me just tell you that if you are installing Forem, you will do this gem install bundle. You will install npm, and then you will
Uh,
rename this dot
Sir, can
env.
you please come closer to your mic? I can't hear you.
Okay, is it now audible?
Yes, yes.
So if while installing Forem, what you will do is you will install npm first. You will then rename .env sample to .env, and then you will do
Yes.
bin setup. So bin setup will basically do bundle install, that is install all the packages and create some binary files and all. And when you have to start your application, you will do bin slash startup. Okay. So basically what is happening is this file, you will run this file. You will do bin startup and this will get executed. And if you see here, I have done this. Here what I did, I said that fetch the value of environment from this .env file, and if it is development, use procfile.dev. If it is production, use procfile.prod.
Dot prod. Yes.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
that thing I think I mentioned it when take this file, procfile.prod. And if you see, these two files are similar. The only thing different is this first line, right? This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
again the same file that we were using for SSL. So you can remember it like .dev means development, .prod means production.
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 So this is how we use environment file to change how to run the server. Okay. So you can visit this documentation. It is really great. It contains the links to install all these dependencies that you have to install. I'll share this with you on Slack, and this is how this was basically a very basic introduction to Forem, the backend of Forem, and I'll also show you the front end how we are calling the APIs. Uh, so this is our front end. We made it using Vuejs, and if you can see, we have this URL. This is the same URL that we were using for the APIs, right? You guys remember it, right?
Yes.
See, this
Yes,
is the
sir.
same thing.
Yes, yes.
So this is our base URL, and if we go to, let's say, all articles view, you can see that we are appending to this base URL this string. So this is basically like making this. Okay, and then if we send a request to this, we will get all the articles that we have. So this is what we are doing. Uh, we are storing this URL in base URL, and we are passing this URL inside a component called article list. By the way, are you guys familiar with Vuejs?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
So this is one component article list, and you can see using Axios, we are fetching
Calling it. Yes, sir.
the response of the API. So where did it go? So this was the name of the variable, and the value is this URL, the whole URL of the API, and this API URL is the one to which we are sending our GET request and storing all the articles in this data object. Okay, just let me plug in my chat. Okay, so this is how we are doing it. So uh, so in this front end, what we did, we created one component for the article for displaying only one specific article. And in this also, as you can see, we are fetching the article using slug, and the value of the slug will be there in the URL. Let me just show you. If you try to open just one article, you can see that this is there in the slug, right? So this thing is being fetched here. So this variable basically represents this thing that is there in the URL, and we are appending this slug to this API endpoint, and we are appending all of this to the base URL from config.json, and then we are fetching the data of this article. And in this content variable, we have the process HTML part, which is basically the HTML code for this article, and we are also storing the title in a separate variable. So, and then we are simply displaying the content. You can see that this is the title variable. We have bounded to the HTML entity, and similarly, we have binded this variable content to the HTML. But one problem that you will face is that if we simply append this process HTML in this uh, in this VHTML, the HTML will get displayed. But the thing is, our process HTML part also contains some script tags. Let me show you. So as you can see, this is the process HTML part, and it contains a script, right? So now what happens is the whole code of Vue.js is executed by the browser. So basically this script will be loaded after the browser has executed all the scripts. And since JavaScript is an interpreted language, we cannot this will not be executed automatically, right? Is it clear? Do you have any doubt uh, about this stuff?
No, not so far.
You guys get it, right? Why this script will not be executed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Vue.js is a front-end framework, and
Mhm.
browser will execute the whole code of Vue.js, and then it will fetch this script. And since JavaScript is interpreted by the browser, this will not get executed automatically. So we will have to execute all the script tags manually. So for this, we are using one npm module called PostScribe. So what it does is it will basically execute the JavaScript that you will pass it. So this is one method, fetch article. It is for fetching the article details, and there is another method here inside this. It is called PostScribe. So if you guys can see, what we are doing is we are fetching all the classes, all the elements which have this tag. So this tag will be there in all the scripts that are going to display a gist of GitHub. So if you can see, this tag is there, right? So we are fetching all the elements of this class, and we are looping over each element, and we are passing that element to this post prime, and it will basically execute the script, and we will get to see our our gist file. So with this article, I did not have any the article. It will be showing gist. So you can see this is a gist. So this gist is being displayed by this script tag. So this div in this div there is the script tag which basically displays that gist in our website. If you guys must have used GitHub, so there also we have one option of sharing of embedding a gist. So if you guys can see, this is how we embed a gist. This is a script tag, and we simply have to paste it. So if we paste this code, we get that gist in our website. So this is why we are using Postgres, and then we also need a comment section. No website, no tutorial website is good without a comment section. So again, such a developing a comment section from scratch will take a lot of time. So what we did, we are using something called Discuss. So Discuss is basically a module which will create all of it by itself. But yes, it will also show you ads if you are using the free version of this Discuss. If you go to this Discuss, you see that this is one company and they have many plans. The thing is, it becomes if we use Discuss, it will be very simple to add this. Uh, the only thing that we have to do is we have to make one function. Inside this function, we have to write this code. This is there. If you issue yourself an ID on that Discuss website, they will give you this code. You just have to paste this code and you have to call this after your article is finished. And that's it. There is nothing else that you have to do. This will manage everything by itself. It will manage all the comments for each article by itself. You don't have to do anything else. So if you guys know this would take only 10 minutes or 15 minutes to add this comment section in your website. If we were to make it from scratch, it would definitely take hours. So this discuss is used for adding comments to each article. Is this clear? Do you guys have any doubt in me?
No, no, it's clear.
So one thing you must be wondering is Ruby on Rails. You may not be familiar with Ruby, and you also have to do Rails, so that may also be difficult. But it is very easy if you already know some MVC framework. You guys can simply read this blog. It is the official blog of Rails. Uh, I know that official documents are generally not easy to read, but this one is really great. So this one you can read, and uh, I think only this getting started. If you read this getting started, you will get to know a lot of things, and it will be enough for you to understand the code and add more features. Because if you understand what you are doing, then you can simply do a Google search and get the and come to know what code you need to do what. So this tutorial will simply help you to understand Ruby on Rails. And once you complete this tutorial and understand it, you can simply search on Stack Overflow whatever you want to do, and you can then get and then you can add that to this application. So this is not like other documentations, the documentations of other languages. Those documentations are very difficult to read, but this one is very great. If you want a quick introduction to C. So this is it. I hope I explained uh, the things nicely.